It's a Wonderful Knife. It's a Wonderful Knife is exactly how it sounds. It's a Christmas horror movie that's a different take on It's a Wonderful Life. Gee, how original. It's not like anyone has actually done the exact same thing before. So how does this movie stack up compared to the others? Or even a better question, is it worth your money? I'll let you know without spoilers, then with spoilers as we get spooky. Okay, so you might be wondering how this is like It's a Wonderful Life. Well, in It's a Wonderful Life, the last 15 minutes or so of the movie is when George makes his wish that he wishes he was never born, and then we get a brief amount of time of him learning what the world would be like without him, and then he gets the wish reversed. In It's a Wonderful Knife, it's the reverse. We get about 15 minutes or so somewhat building up characters, more specifically our main girl Winnie, played by Jane Widdop, who is in Yellow Jackets. It seems like a couple people from that show have gone on to do other horror projects. Good for them. Still haven't seen the show. There's just so much to watch. So Winnie is enjoying her life somewhat along with her brother, two parents, and two aunts. Her dad, Jeff Winger, who really hasn't been doing super well since his days on Community.
Sometimes I do wish you were dead.
He works for everyone's most hated piece of shit in horror movies, Justin Long.
I can get away, but you're gonna have to slow her down. Hey! Come get your baby!
His name in the movie is Henry Waters. So while the dad is being pulled away on Christmas Eve, Winnie goes to a party with her brother and best friend, and a serial killer attacks and kills her best friend. The killer also goes after her and her brother, but they tag team the SOB and kill him. Huh. Kind of a shitty serial killer. They do the reveal, but I won't say who it is because of spoilers, even though they tell you in the trailer for the movie who the masked killer is.
Fucking idiot.
So yeah, right off the bat, there really isn't much mystery here. Then a year later is when we get our wishing moment when Winnie just can't take any more of the shit that's been in her life and wishes for her to never be born. But in this alternate reality, the serial killer has just been having the time of his life, killing people every few weeks. Even though two high school kids took him out a year prior, apparently no one else has been up to task in dealing with him. So the rest of this movie is spent on her trying to get back to her reality. But how this differs from It's a Wonderful Life is that she can't just appreciate her life. She has to confront the killer of this reality. And that's as far as I'll go in the non-spoiler section of the plot breakdown. So, how is the movie?
Meh. What do you mean, meh? Meh.
Yeah, this movie is nothing special as a Christmas horror. Not even close, in my opinion. For starters, the villain sucks. There aren't any super cool or creative or even funny kills. This movie did make me laugh a little, emphasis on little. The acting is okay, but the story is pretty eh. There is a type of mythology behind the wish that Winnie makes, but it has some aspects that really make you scratch your skull or head. Also, you would think there would be some big reveal when she experiences her alternate reality, and it almost does, but then they undercut it like 2 minutes later. The biggest problem in the movie is that usually in masked killer movies there is some mystery, but there is none here. They tell you who the killer is right away, and after that reveal, there is just Winnie trying to do the same shit as she did before, but instead with a few people who don't really know her but just trust her. And the ending, yeah, I have quite a bit to say about that ending, but yeah, that's it. Is it worth your money? Fuck no. It's not a terrible movie, but this is definitely one of those Shudder movies you should just watch for free when it pops onto the streaming service, not when it's in theaters. Sorry, Shudder. Maybe next year you'll have a decent Christmas horror movie. Now I'm gonna go into the spoilers section. You have been warned. The movie starts off just like I said before. We get introduced to our main characters, and Henry Waters is working as a realtor trying to get Jeffrey Winger to help him convince an old man to sell his properties so Waters can make some big move real estate wise. But the man insults him a few times and tells him to piss off. Later on, he gets a knock at the door and opens up to a snowman, to which a white angel looking serial killer jumps through it and slits his throat.
What? Oh, come on!
Fucking really? This serial killer made a snowman and put it in front of someone's doorstep only to jump through it and kill a guy? Have the writers for this movie never made a snowman before? To make a snowman as tall as an average guy would take at least an hour. Also, doing this in front of someone's house is not very subtle. And I swear on my fucking life, if someone in the comment section says, "But what if he made the snowman before, drove it over, and set it up in front of the man's house?" I will fucking find you and explain how this is a shit idea for even the most elaborate of serial killers. At least with Hannibal Lecter's victims, they were a work of art, but this is just dumb and unnecessary. Anyways, Winnie goes to a party with her friend and brother and tries to be nice to the weird lonely girl, and then her friend gets killed by the killer. Her and her brother tag team the killer, and we get the big reveal to no one's surprise that it was Henry Waters. Color me surprised Justin Long plays another piece of shit in a horror movie. Is this just every role he is gonna play from here on out? So we do a quick time jump to a year passing. Winnie is still having a hard time getting over her friend's death, and on Christmas her parents give her a workout jumpsuit and her brother gets a new truck. And get this, their parents' justification to her expected outrage is that they got their children what they needed. Talk about salt on an open wound. Winnie storms off to a party and sees that her boyfriend is banging some other chick. Woof, double salted wound. So she goes and sees the Aurora Borealis and makes the wish that she was never born, and turns around and sees the angel killer knife a dude to death. She runs from him and calls the cops. The new sheriff is Henry Waters' brother, and while she's freaking out telling him about her story, he's like, "Oh, another angel killing? Yeah, this happens every few weeks." Wow, you could at least pretend to care about catching a pretty successful serial killer. So Winnie goes off having a rough time connecting to anyone, but then finds Awkward Chick and they become BFFs forever, or maybe a little more, but we'll get to that later. So they try to piece together what's going on, and everyone's life is shittier since she never existed. What a surprise. She is able to make a few friends by telling them deep personal things about him. She is able to survive another attack by the killer, and they do end up unmasking him, and it turns out to be Jeff Winger. At first I found this quite predictable. In the original reality, they made it seem like there could be two killers because he does seem to teleport a bit, and it would have been interesting if there was another not super obvious killer with some interesting motive, but what they came up with is much worse. Okay, so since Winnie never existed, Waters killed her brother who was the only child of her family, which I guess broke Jeff so bad that the guy who killed his son, listen to this shit. The guy who killed his only son was able to manipulate him into dressing up as the killer to then kill off every business owner in the town so Waters could buy the real estate and do whatever he wanted with it.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
This is atrocious writing. I am having a hard time even processing why or how this would actually work with real human beings, but I will do my best to power through. So Winnie and her friends resolve to kill her dead because she thinks it will get her back to her reality. Okay, sure. So she does and nothing happens. So then she resolves to kill Waters again and then she will be back to her reality. He's having a big town meeting to announce Christmas, and for some reason the entire town is entranced because the Aurora Borealis has hypnotized them into being drones or something. I don't know. So her and Awkward Girl beat up Justin Long in front of his bodyguards, even though he said he could handle the girls, but they end up killing him with practically zero effort, and then the Aurora Borealis activates, and right before Winnie is taken back, her and Awkward Girl have a kiss that comes out of fucking nowhere. I don't get this. Why are they a couple now? Winnie is established to have a boyfriend before, and since Awkward Girl had no friends and only in this lifetime just met her, there is nothing to assume that she wanted anything more than a friend. And when Winnie goes back to her reality, everything is marginally better. Turns out her parents had another surprise gift for her. A camera. Never mind the fact that a camera like the one that she got would be 1/50th the price of the truck that her brother got, but I guess she's so grateful that neither of her parents are dead that she just lets it slide that they still suck ass. She runs over to Awkward Girl, and since the writers were on their hands and knees just wanting to give this girl a layup, they write it in that the Awkward Girl remembers everything, and yeah, they start off their relationship on Christmas Day. I may have shit a lot on this movie in my spoilers section, but as I have learned in my YouTube experience, hate hate gets more attention than praise. And in my defense, there is nothing really that special about this movie. It's not that fun of a slasher because there aren't that many jokes and the kills aren't that special. It's not super deep because everything is shittier for the good people and better for the bad people in the alternate reality. So there is nothing to really look deep into. And as far as praise goes, to be fair, the movie had some moments that made me laugh, and right before Winnie jumps back to her reality, the awkward girl reveals that her life was so tough that this was actually going to be her last Christmas, and that was actually a really deep moment, like some legit character vulnerability, which made me feel a little something in these old bones. But yeah, my judgment still stands. Not a terrible movie, but definitely not worth your money. Hopefully next week's Thanksgiving movie will be better. I mean, it is the beginning of November. Heaven forbid we actually wait a little before jumping straight into Christmas horror. Anyways, stay spooky, my friends.